My beloved child, listen to me carefully now, because this message did not arrive by chance. Archangel Michael says your heart has been restless for a reason you could not explain, especially when you think about your son. There is a silent weight pressing on his path, something forming quietly around him, unseen by most eyes. You felt it as sudden worry, as a pause in your breath, as a thought that returned again and again. This is not imagination. This is awareness awakening. What is being planned around him is real, and the urgency you feel is the signal that time has begun to move faster than before. Hear this clearly, because the truth unfolds layer by layer. Archangel Michael says there are people influencing his direction without revealing their true intention. They speak gently, they appear supportive, yet their plans do not align with his highest good. What shocks many is not who they are, but how close they stand. This situation was arranged subtly, step by step, so it would look ordinary, even beneficial on the surface. But beneath that surface is a shift that could take him far from his true purpose if left unnoticed. Now focus, because this is where the revelation deepens. Archangel Michael says your son has been chosen not for weakness, but for strength others recognized before you did. That is why attention gathered around him so quietly. He carries potential that attracts guidance as well as manipulation. The plan forming is meant to redirect his future, not suddenly, but gradually, so resistance feels unnecessary. This is why your role matters more than ever. Your awareness disrupts what was meant to stay hidden. Do not let fear take control, because this message is not sent to alarm you, but to empower you. Archangel Michael says the moment you listen fully, the balance begins to change. Support, protection, and clarity are already being positioned around your son. What he needs urgently is not confrontation, but presence. Your calm attention, your words spoken at the right time, and your trust in divine guidance will alter the outcome more than force ever could. This is the turning point many never recognize. Finally, understand this clearly and hold it close. Archangel Michael says nothing planned against truth can remain hidden for long. What was meant to move quietly will soon be revealed in a way that surprises everyone involved. Your son's path is not being taken from him, it is being reclaimed. Stay watchful, stay grounded, and remain connected, because what unfolds next will confirm why this message reached you exactly now. My beloved child, Archangel Michael says the silence around this situation is deliberate, and that is what makes it powerful. You may notice moments where nothing seems to happen, yet inside, everything is shifting. This pause is not emptiness, it is a space where decisions are being shaped. Your son senses it too, even if he cannot name it. His sudden changes in mood, his distractions, or his quietness are signals of an inner conflict between where he is being guided and where his soul truly wants to go. Now listen closely, because this layer is rarely spoken aloud. Archangel Michael says the plan surrounding your son depends on one thing only, your unawareness. The moment you become fully present, the structure weakens. That is why this message reaches you now, before the final steps are taken. What surprises many is that the situation was designed to look like an opportunity, something that appears helpful, progressive, or necessary. Yet the energy behind it does not feel peaceful, and your spirit already knows this. Archangel Michael says your son has been protecting you by not sharing everything. He believed carrying it alone would keep you safe. This is where the emotional weight deepens. He is not distant because he is lost, he is distant because he is trying to be strong too early. The urgency comes from the fact that this burden was never meant for him alone. When you create space for open presence, without pressure or judgment, the truth will surface naturally. Do not underestimate the power of timing now. Archangel Michael says there will be a moment, very soon, when a conversation opens without effort. Words will flow that were previously locked away. This is not coincidence, it is alignment. When that moment arrives, your response will matter more than the question itself. Calm understanding will do more than urgency, and reassurance will dissolve what control could not. Remember this final truth as you move forward. Archangel Michael says what is meant for your son cannot be replaced, redirected, or taken by hidden plans. What is unfolding now is not a loss, but a correction. Stay steady, stay attentive, and trust the guidance unfolding step by step, because the next sign you receive will confirm that intervention has already begun. My beloved child, Archangel Michael says the next phase begins when you stop doubting your own instincts. There was a moment in the past when you almost spoke up, almost questioned what was happening, but you held back. That hesitation was not weakness, it was preparation. Now the clarity you need is arriving stronger, sharper, and impossible to ignore. Your awareness is becoming the key that unlocks what was deliberately kept unclear. Understand this carefully, because it explains everything that felt confusing before. Archangel Michael says the people involved never expected your perception to sharpen this quickly. They assumed time would soften your attention and routine would blur your focus. Instead, your concern grew stronger. This is why subtle resistance has started to appear around you: delays, mixed signals, small emotional tests. These are not obstacles, they are indicators that the situation is shifting away from their control. Archangel Michael says your son is closer to a breakthrough than you realize. Inside him, a realization is forming that what is being arranged does not fully align with his inner truth. He may not express it directly, but you will notice it in his questions, his hesitation, his search for reassurance. This is the moment where guidance meets choice. Your steady presence will give him the courage to trust what he already feels deep inside. Now hear this part with full attention. Archangel Michael says there is protection surrounding your son that cannot be seen, only felt. Every attempt to rush him, pressure him, or subtly influence him is being slowed. What was meant to move quickly is losing momentum. This delay is intentional. It creates space for truth to surface without conflict, and for decisions to be made with clarity instead of confusion. Finally, hold this message close as you move forward. Archangel Michael says you were never meant to arrive too late. You were meant to arrive exactly now. What unfolds next will reveal why urgency was placed on your heart and why this message continues to reach you. Stay calm, stay observant, and trust that the path ahead is already being realigned in favor of truth and protection. My beloved child, Archangel Michael says the reason this message keeps unfolding is because awareness must deepen before resolution appears. What you are sensing now is not escalation, but exposure. Small details that once seemed harmless will begin to stand out. Words spoken casually will suddenly feel weighted. This is the moment when intuition becomes louder than logic, and you must honor that inner signal without questioning its validity. Listen carefully, because this truth carries power. Archangel Michael says the situation around your son relies on speed and silence. Once questions are asked, once light is directed toward it, the structure weakens. You may notice subtle attempts to hurry decisions, to frame urgency as necessity. This is intentional. Calm observation is your strength now. When you slow your response, clarity accelerates. Archangel Michael says your son is beginning to recognize that something does not sit right within him. He may feel torn between pleasing others and honoring his own sense of direction. This internal struggle is the real urgency. Not because danger is imminent, but because alignment is being tested. When you offer him reassurance without pressure, you give him permission to trust himself again. Now understand this shift taking place quietly. Archangel Michael says support is being drawn toward you from unexpected places. A conversation, a message, or a sudden insight will arrive exactly when needed. These are confirmations, not coincidences. Each one is designed to strengthen your confidence and dissolve remaining doubt. Pay attention to what repeats itself, because repetition is guidance asking to be noticed. Hold this final truth firmly. Archangel Michael says nothing meant to mislead can survive sustained awareness. The more present you become, the less influence hidden intentions can hold. What unfolds next will feel like relief rather than shock. Stay centered, remain patient, and trust that what is being corrected now will lead your son back into clarity, stability, and purpose. My beloved child, Archangel Michael says this stage is about confirmation, not confusion. What you are noticing now is the unraveling of something that depended on uncertainty to survive. You may feel moments of emotional intensity followed by sudden calm. This is a sign that clarity is settling in. The inner noise is fading because truth no longer needs to compete for your attention. Archangel Michael says the individuals involved are beginning to sense a shift they cannot explain. Their influence weakens not through confrontation, but through exposure. Plans that once felt firm start to feel unstable. Conversations change tone. Assurances lose their confidence. This is how hidden intentions dissolve, not loudly, but quietly, when awareness stands firm and unshaken. Your son, Archangel Michael says, is responding to this change at a deeper level than words can show. You may notice a return of warmth, a softer openness, or a subtle willingness to share. This is not accidental. As pressure lifts, his true nature re-emerges. What was suppressed by expectation begins to breathe again. This is the restoration you were waiting for without knowing its name. Now listen to this carefully, because it holds lasting strength. Archangel Michael says you are not required to fix everything. Your role is alignment, not control. By staying present, by listening more than reacting, you allow truth to complete its work. Guidance flows best where trust replaces urgency. This balance is what protects the future being shaped right now. Finally, take this assurance with you. Archangel Michael says what was planned without integrity cannot complete its course. The path ahead is stabilizing, even if it feels unfinished. What comes next will feel lighter, clearer, and more honest. Stay grounded in awareness, remain open in heart, and trust that this unfolding is leading your son toward exactly where he is meant to be. My beloved child, Archangel Michael says you have now entered the phase where truth no longer hides behind uncertainty. What once felt heavy without explanation is starting to feel lighter with understanding. You may notice that your thoughts are clearer, your reactions calmer, and your sense of direction stronger. This is not because the situation disappeared, but because your awareness has risen above it. When clarity arrives, confusion loses its power. Archangel Michael says the environment around your son is changing subtly but decisively. Influences that once felt strong are losing their grip, not through resistance, but through irrelevance. What no longer aligns with truth cannot hold his attention for long. You may see delays, changes in plans, or unexpected pauses. These are not setbacks. They are signs that the path is correcting itself naturally. Your son, Archangel Michael says, is beginning to feel safe again at an inner level. Safety does not come from control, but from being seen and understood. As your calm presence remains steady, his need to shield himself fades. This is when honesty becomes possible without fear. The bond between you strengthens not through words alone, but through shared silence and quiet trust. Now understand this deeper message. Archangel Michael says guidance works most powerfully when you do not rush the outcome. There is wisdom in allowing things to reveal themselves fully. Each moment of patience removes another layer of illusion. What was unclear becomes obvious. What felt complex becomes simple. This unfolding cannot be forced, only allowed. Hold this final assurance firmly. Archangel Michael says nothing meant to divert your son from his true path can succeed once awareness is awakened. The foundation beneath him is stabilizing, even if the surface still shifts. What lies ahead carries clarity, balance, and renewed purpose. Stay present, stay attentive, and trust that this journey is moving exactly where it needs to go. My beloved child, Archangel Michael says you are now witnessing the quiet outcome of everything that was set in motion before. What once felt urgent now feels guided. This shift is important, because it shows that control has been replaced by clarity. You are no longer reacting to uncertainty, you are responding from understanding. This is how protection truly works, not by force, but by awareness that cannot be shaken. Archangel Michael says the situation surrounding your son is losing its structure piece by piece. Not because someone intervened loudly, but because truth does not support false direction. What was meant to pull him away can no longer hold together. You may notice people stepping back, changing their tone, or suddenly becoming uncertain themselves. This is the natural result of light entering a place that depended on shadows. Your son, Archangel Michael says, is beginning to realign with himself. You may feel it in the way he listens more closely, in the way his presence feels lighter, or in the way trust slowly returns. This is not a sudden transformation, but a restoration. The parts of him that felt pressured are releasing, making room for confidence that comes from within rather than from approval. Now receive this with calm certainty. Archangel Michael says you do not need to search for proof anymore. Confirmation will arrive through peace, not tension. When the path is correct, it does not drain you, it steadies you. Pay attention to what brings calm instead of anxiety. That is where alignment is strengthening and guidance is already at work. Finally, carry this truth forward. Archangel Michael says this chapter was never meant to end in loss, but in clarity. What unfolds next will feel natural, even if it once seemed impossible. Stay grounded, remain patient, and trust that the protection surrounding your son is active, present, and guiding him steadily back into balance and purpose. My beloved child, Archangel Michael says this continuation is meant to anchor your trust, not to stir new uncertainty. What is happening now may feel quiet on the outside, but inwardly it is decisive. Silence does not mean inactivity. It means alignment is settling into place. The urgency you once felt has transformed into awareness, and that is how you know the shift is real. Archangel Michael says the momentum that once pushed your son in a certain direction has slowed significantly. What was carefully arranged now feels disorganized, as if its foundation was never solid to begin with. This is not accidental. When truth stands firm, false structures cannot maintain their form. You may sense hesitation where confidence once appeared, and distance where closeness was expected. These are signs of weakening influence. Your son, Archangel Michael says, is reclaiming his sense of choice. This is a subtle but powerful change. He is no longer moving simply because movement was expected of him. He is beginning to question, to pause, and to feel into what is right. This internal return to self is what protects his future more than any external action ever could. Now understand this clearly and without doubt. Archangel Michael says your steadiness has been the turning force. Not your fear, not your urgency, but your calm attention. By remaining present instead of reactive, you allowed truth to rise naturally. This is why the outcome is correcting itself without conflict or loss. What aligns with integrity always finds a way forward. Hold this final message gently but firmly. Archangel Michael says what comes next will not require effort, only continued awareness. The path ahead will reveal itself step by step, without pressure or confusion. Stay centered, stay open, and trust that what has begun to realign now will carry your son into clarity, stability, and the direction meant for him. My beloved child, Archangel Michael says this moment marks the settling of what was once unstable. You may feel a quiet confidence replacing the concern that once kept you alert. This is not because you stopped caring, but because understanding has taken root. When truth is recognized, it no longer needs constant vigilance. Your calm now is a signal that the situation has shifted in your favor. Archangel Michael says the plans that once seemed certain are now losing their urgency. What was meant to move forward quickly is being reconsidered, revised, or delayed. This change is subtle, yet powerful. It reflects an internal disruption among those who believed everything would proceed without question. Awareness has altered the direction, even if no one speaks of it openly. Your son, Archangel Michael says, is feeling the relief of no longer carrying invisible pressure. You may notice him becoming more present, more thoughtful, or more grounded in simple moments. This is not coincidence. As influence fades, authenticity returns. He is beginning to reconnect with what feels right rather than what is expected. This reconnection is the foundation of lasting clarity. Now take in this deeper truth. Archangel Michael says outcomes shaped by patience endure longer than those driven by urgency. By allowing space instead of forcing answers, you permitted wisdom to surface naturally. What was once confusing has begun to organize itself without strain. This is how alignment confirms itself, through ease rather than effort. Finally, keep this assurance close. Archangel Michael says the correction now in motion will continue to unfold gently but steadily. Nothing essential has been lost, and nothing meaningful is delayed. The path ahead carries balance, understanding, and renewed direction. Stay present, remain trusting, and know that what surrounds your son now supports his growth, clarity, and true purpose. My beloved child, Archangel Michael says you are now standing in a space where reassurance replaces anticipation. What once demanded constant attention now feels settled within you. This is the sign that understanding has completed its work. You are no longer searching for answers, because answers have quietly aligned themselves around you. This calm is not accidental, it is confirmation. Archangel Michael says the energy surrounding your son is stabilizing in ways that cannot be forced or rushed. External pressures are dissolving because they no longer find resistance to push against. What depended on confusion has nothing left to hold on to. You may notice how situations resolve themselves without explanation, as if the need for struggle has simply faded away. Your son, Archangel Michael says, is regaining confidence in his own sense of direction. This confidence is gentle, not loud. It appears in thoughtful choices, in steadier emotions, and in moments where he trusts himself without seeking approval. This inner alignment is the protection that lasts, because it comes from truth rather than influence. Now receive this understanding with quiet certainty. Archangel Michael says there is no need to revisit what has already been corrected. Reflection has served its purpose. What matters now is presence. By staying grounded in awareness, you allow the path ahead to remain clear. Guidance continues when trust replaces vigilance. Finally, carry this truth forward with ease. Archangel Michael says the unfolding you witness now is the result of alignment completed, not effort expended. What lies ahead will feel natural, supportive, and steady. Remain centered, remain open, and trust that your son is moving forward surrounded by clarity, balance, and the direction meant for him. My beloved child, Archangel Michael says this is the moment when assurance becomes quietly unshakable. You may notice that even when you think back on what once caused concern, it no longer holds the same weight. This is because understanding has settled deeper than thought. When truth anchors itself within you, it does not shout, it steadies. This inner steadiness is the clearest sign that alignment has taken place. Archangel Michael says the surrounding circumstances are now responding to this inner shift. What once felt unpredictable is becoming orderly without effort. Conversations adjust, expectations soften, and paths that felt fixed begin to change direction naturally. This is how correction reveals itself, not through dramatic turns, but through smooth redirection that feels right rather than forced. Your son, Archangel Michael says, is beginning to trust his own rhythm again. You may sense it in how he approaches decisions with more calm and less pressure. He is no longer moving to meet someone else's timing. He is listening inwardly, and that inner listening is restoring his confidence. This return to self is quiet, yet it reshapes everything that follows. Now understand this final layer clearly. Archangel Michael says once alignment is restored, there is nothing left to fear or fix. The role of urgency has ended. What remains is awareness, which maintains balance without effort. By remaining present and open, you allow guidance to continue flowing without resistance. This is how clarity sustains itself. Hold this truth gently as you move forward. Archangel Michael says what unfolds next will feel natural, supportive, and firmly grounded. There is no hidden struggle ahead, only continued clarity revealing itself step by step. Stay centered, remain trusting, and know that the path surrounding your son now reflects protection, balance, and the direction he was always meant to follow. My beloved child, Archangel Michael says you have reached a point where trust no longer needs reassurance. What once required repeated confirmation now feels settled within your spirit. This is the outcome of awareness held steadily over time. When understanding matures, it does not seek proof, it recognizes truth by the peace it carries. This calm presence you feel is not temporary, it is established. Archangel Michael says the external situation has adjusted to match this inner alignment. What once seemed complicated is simplifying on its own. Decisions that felt heavy are becoming lighter, and paths that appeared uncertain are revealing themselves naturally. Nothing is being forced into place. Instead, everything is returning to its correct order, guided by clarity rather than pressure. Your son, Archangel Michael says, is now standing more firmly in his own awareness. You may notice him moving with greater ease, less hesitation, and more sincerity. This is the result of internal balance being restored. When external influence fades, inner truth rises. He is no longer pulled by expectations that do not reflect who he truly is. Now receive this understanding fully. Archangel Michael says vigilance is no longer required where clarity exists. There is wisdom in allowing what has corrected itself to continue without interference. Presence maintains alignment far better than control ever could. By remaining grounded and observant, you ensure that this balance remains intact. Finally, hold this assurance close. Archangel Michael says what lies ahead does not carry hidden weight or unresolved tension. The unfolding before you is steady, honest, and guided. Stay centered, remain attentive, and trust that your son is moving forward within clarity, stability, and the purpose that was always meant to guide him.